Look at this keyboard. Have you ever seen anything like this before? I've tested a few split mechanical keyboards before and even ergonomic ones, but this is completely new. It's called the Keycrush Orca. I think this design is inspired by those killer whales. And the one I have here is a beta version, a prototype. The official version hasn't even launched yet. In fact, their Kickstarter page is still about 2 weeks away from getting launched, so this is super exclusive early stuff. I've used this for about a week and I have some thoughts. It's not fully functional, but let's check out what we have. Oh hey, there's my real name on the pamphlet. As per this information here, there are some differences between this beta version and the final one. Some things such as the keys here may not be hot swappable, this one will be Bluetooth only without any 2.4G or wired connections, and apparently the build isn't as premium as the final product. Obviously, I haven't seen the final product, so I'm just gonna take their word for it for now. In the box, along with the split USB cable, you also get some spare switches, and I've actually seen these switches before in the Perix Peri board. Remember this keyboard I showed you with this unique arch design? It's one of the most comfortable keyboards I've used, but the switches there are not hot swappable and it doesn't have a backlight. This one does, even in the wireless mode. And the reason why I'm happy with the wireless backlight is because I've seen some keyboards like the Knock Free Lite, also a Kickstarter campaign, which doesn't have backlight in wireless mode. Now this doesn't have a lot of customization, it's just one color at one brightness, at least in this version. As I mentioned, it's beta. And even if it doesn't have customizable RGB, I'm okay with it. I just need some backlight, that's it. Knock Free missed on that, these guys have done it. These linear switches are pretty easy to press and this upward curving design makes it easier to reach the top rows for people with small palms, I guess. Also, this wrist rest is amazingly soft. It easily accommodates the shape of your wrist with very little pressure. And having it integrated right on the keyboard itself is better than having it separate. It's more convenient and it'll save more space on your desk. And then there's this rotating array of keys near your thumb. Now again, the promise here with the final version is that they're experimenting with some functionality for this rotation as well, along with these key presses. Now in this version, the rotation doesn't do anything except reorient the keys, but I guess it would be cool to have some sort of a function like, scrolling a page or maybe a video editing timeline. That way I don't have to move my hand back and forth between the mouse and keyboard as much, so that'll improve the ergonomics. Also, these buttons would be customizable, but in this version they are fixed. You can see what they do in this pamphlet, and yeah, I've set this orientation to be backspace for my right thumb and the spacebar for my left thumb. And now that we are looking at keys, you may have also noticed something else. So in case you're wondering, where's the backspace key or delete or spacebar, control? Well, here's the answer. Now let's talk about the most important functionality of a keyboard, typing. Based on what I've been told, this version seems to have some kind of delay set in those keys, which means that every time I press a key, it kind of delays the next key press. So I can't type at my max speed on this version, which kind of sucks because I can't practically use these keys to type fast. I can type on these, but I can't type anywhere near even 50 or 60 words per minute. And obviously gaming is out of the question as well because of that key delay. Once again, the final version is not supposed to have that. But obviously I am not reviewing the final version. In fact, this isn't even an objective review. I want to make that clear. My intention here is just to show you an interesting design and try to help you understand the significance of it. But I cannot evaluate the practicality of it on a daily basis because it's not really usable. I wish this model was closer to the final version, but it's not yet. And even if I overlook the typing delay, which is a specific downside of the beta version, I'm not sure if I'm fully sold on this rotating function here. I'm not sure how smooth it'll be once they have finished making the mass production versions, but this one isn't exactly super comfy to rotate just using your thumb. Pressing these keys is fine, but I don't know exactly how effective it is because I can't use it on a day-to-day basis because of that delay. I really wish they didn't introduce that so I can actually replace my main keyboard with this for a week and properly evaluate it, but I can't. And I've been thinking, instead of this rotating feature, what if they had a bunch of keys on the side which are static just like these keys, but they can be programmed. And we've actually seen a very similar implementation in a split mechanical keyboard before. It's on the Philco Magistouch Zarco. If you remember, I showed that keyboard to you a few months ago. It was a purely wired keyboard, wasn't exactly my favorite, but it had an entire column of programmable keys on each side. That's what we could use in something like this. Instead of this rotating dial, which may or may not satisfy most people, having a bunch of programmable keys here next to the thumb would be a lot more ergonomic and comfortable. Because this just doesn't seem natural to me, at least right now. And having those static row of keys would probably be easier to manufacture as well. They have told me how difficult this was to make, And I believe them. I'm not saying this is easy or something. Without a doubt, there has been a tremendous amount of effort put into this design. I don't want to disrespect that. All I'm saying is, it would have been easier to just have a static row of keys. And it would also be more practical, which is one of the ultimate requirements for a keyboard. It should be usable on a daily basis. And while this is a phenomenally comfortable design, I can't fully give you a verdict unless I see a final working unit. Well, working in the sense something that can be used practically, which doesn't have any deliberate delays between key presses. In general, if I talk about ergonomic keyboards, in my opinion, the ultimate ergonomic keyboard is the one that reduces your reliance on a mouse. It's a design where you can keep your hands on it comfortably and be able to do basic mouse functions alongside keyboard ones. It's the fusion of two I/O devices for ultimate ergonomics. This thing has done one of those. Since it is a split mechanical keyboard, you can keep it as far apart as you want. You can relax your shoulders, relax your wrists. That's amazing. Seriously, it is. But again, I'm not fully sold until I see a final working unit. So I'll reserve my final judgment till then, but if this has piqued your interest, the Kickstarter campaign page and other details will be in the description. The campaign goes live on February 18th based on what I know right now, so there you go. Check it out and let me know if you have any questions, and in the meantime, I'll keep an eye out for more enhanced ergonomic endeavors made for everyone, from entry-level enthusiasts to eccentric elites. Hey, that was pretty good.